Hey guys, hope you're doing well. So the Fusion transformation video just hit 100,000 views here on YouTube. So as a thank you, today we're going to be doing a full mods review. I did the mods list a couple months ago, and the last time I did a mods review, I only had like 5 things on the car. So this video is going to be a good bit longer than usual, but I'm going to do my best to try and answer the more commonly asked questions regarding fitment, finish, install process, comparison over stock, and where you can get these parts. So sit back, grab a drink, and let's get into today's video. So one of the more notable pieces on my car are these taillights. These are the Porsche style taillights for the 2013 through 2016 Ford Fusion. I got mine off eBay and they are now available on Amazon as well. But the main thing about these is I would consider them a big upgrade from stock because they have a lot more features, they look a lot more up to date, and they basically modernize the car while also giving it a more aggressive rear end. Now, one of the more commonly asked questions I get regarding these taillights are, do they fit newer model Fusions? And the answer is yes, but with some modification. So the main thing that is the issue with these and newer Fusions is this piece right here, because depending on the year Fusion, you're either gonna have that be chrome or extend further out towards the taillight itself, kind of morph into it. So the main thing is you're gonna need to basically get this piece right here on the trunk, get it painted to match the car or possibly just an offsetting color. But nonetheless, you do need this piece to be able to encapsulate the taillight a little bit easier. So that's the main issue that you're gonna have. But it can be done, and it has been done. I've seen it done a good amount of times already on the Fusion groups on Facebook, so it can be done. And the other thing is, I believe you're gonna need to get a replacement harness. I'm not too familiar with that, but that is something you'll have to address. But the main hurdle is definitely gonna be this piece right here. Now, the next thing that I do get asked a good bit about those taillights whenever people install them is that occasionally they won't fit super flush and they'll pop out a little bit. And honestly, the fix is actually really easy. You really don't have to overthink it. So the 2 bolts that hold the taillight in position aren't snug to the opening, it's the nut around the bolt that actually tightens it in. So all you need to do is get a drill attachment that can cut through metal, widen the hole so you can move the taillight around a little bit more, get it to sit flush, and then tighten it in position, and that's basically it. And you really don't need to worry about the holes there because all you're doing is extending the factory hole, and you have the lining on this side to hide it, so you'll never see it, and you can get the taillight to sit flush. And all the links to everything on my car will be in the description box down below. Now, those taillights I would recommend to everybody because on a scale of 1 to 10 on difficulty of install, I'd give it a 2 out of 10. That's basically just because you do have to actually run the wires a little bit, but that is pretty easy. Even if you're unfamiliar with messing with the car, it'd be a really good one to start with because it'll only take you maybe 30 minutes if you're learning, and if you do know what you're doing, it'll take you like 15. So I would definitely recommend it because it is a big upgrade from stock. So next we have the LED spoiler, and the 2 most commonly asked questions I get for this, firstly being, does this fit in factory holes? And secondly, do you have to drill any additional holes? So first, this is a stick-on spoiler, so it doesn't actually go in the factory holes because it doesn't actually mount that way. It has this adhesive from 3M that basically goes on both sides to the spoiler and then to the car. Kind of similar to the SS Tuning wide body kit and how that mounts to the side of the car. But this specifically just goes on the ends. So this piece does not use factory holes, but it will cover them up with the spoiler itself. And then from there, you do need to drill a new hole on the right side to basically have the wiring feed through and connect it to the brake light. But it might be possible you can use one of the holes already there from a stock spoiler, but I don't have any way of testing that. But nonetheless, if you don't have a factory spoiler, you are gonna need to drill a hole to power the 3rd brake light. But again, the spoiler itself will cover the hole, so you won't be able to tell. Now this spoiler you can get on eBay. I haven't seen it anywhere else for sale, but they have it in gloss black and matte black. Mine is in gloss black because I do like the offset with the whites, and I think it matches well with the tint and with the taillights. And this spoiler should fit any Fusion. And the thing I really like about that spoiler is that it's pretty unique. I know a handful of you guys probably have it by now, but nonetheless, it definitely changes the look of the rear end of the car because I was able to finally see it driving. My girlfriend was driving it as I was taking another vehicle home, and I saw the outside perspective of it with the running lights on, and it looked really nice. It looked very different from normal Fusions, and the install itself, it can get a little finicky. The wiring can get a little tricky, especially if you use these taillights. It does have to be a little bit more specific. But nonetheless, if you are looking to spruce up the rear end, I would definitely recommend it because it just has this really nice contrast and it looks a little bit more aggressive than factory with the 3rd brake light and with the more aggressive angles that it has. So all in all, I do recommend it. So next thing is going to be this custom painted Ford emblem. Now I have a full video on it breaking the entire thing down, and it's super simple to do. I would recommend it to everybody because it gives a really nice custom feel to the car, because the majority of the time when you're driving and you see another Ford, you're probably just going to see the stock blue emblem. And taking this off, disassembling it, painting it, and reinstalling it is really simple to do. Depending on how quickly the paint dries, you can get it done in less than a day. And then again, it gives a really nice custom factor over the stock emblem. Especially that piece with the full D badge makes it look really custom, and I really do like it. So next we have the Fusion Sport rear lower valance, and I specifically got this piece because it mounts very easily to a stock single exhaust car. So that is one of the questions if you need to buy any other pieces. You do not, other than the exhaust itself, because this little trim piece right here is the same among single exhaust cars and the Fusion Sport. So all it is the rear lower valance underneath it. A Fusion Titanium has a little bit of a different setup, so you would need to get this specific piece and a different one there if you're going to convert from a Fusion Titanium. And that's also why I wanted to get this one, because it gives you more options for exhaust tips, which these I really like, being the carbon fiber and the blue. But nonetheless, it is getting a little difficult to find. It was difficult to find when I got it. I had a link saved that's in the description box down below. And as soon as it was available, I bought it and it got here in a day. So shipping is very friendly because it's coming from FordParts.com. But it is on back orders. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult to get nowadays. But you can also find listings on eBay or even on carpart.com. If you look for it intently enough, I'm sure you can find one, whether it's coming from a donor car or whatever the situation may be. But it is out there, and I specifically got mine from FordParts.com. And the next question that I get regarding the rear lower valance a lot is how do you get it to function with both sides? And that one's really easy. So the way that it works is the exhaust feeds on the right side to the muffler, and then back to the right side for the outlet. So what I did is remove the muffler, and in its place there's a Y pipe that splits the exhaust into two, just here at the end. I didn't mess with the resonator, the cats, or anything, just the rear end of the car. That way it functions, it gives it a little bit more of an aggressive growl, and it's not necessarily super in your face or super invasive on the car. The shop was able to do it in about 2 hours, and it was all with the equipment that they have. They had the pipes and everything. It's not something that I had to go out of my way to get. So just basically, as long as you have the piece and the exhaust tips, you should be able to get them to do it pretty easily. I guess it's also going to depend on where you go, but I went to just a very casual shop about 20 minutes from my house, and they were able to do it easily, quickly, and I imagine you'd be able to do the same as well. And now this piece should fit all Fusions up to 2018, so 2013 to 2018. It's a pretty large range, but it will not fit 2019 through 2020 because 2019 through 2020 have a different rear bumper shape, where this specific piece isn't split among these two. The 2019 through 2020 comes all the way down, and this rear lower valance section is just in the center. You can see right here the difference, and because of that, you aren't gonna be able to use this piece, but I imagine it'd be a little bit easier to find that specific piece, being that it's newer and that it's not as large of a piece. Then these tips are from Amazon. They're about 7.5 inches, and they fit the opening really well. Real quick, that is not a shark fin antenna. That's the stock antenna, just minus the little piece on top. I unscrewed it and I lost it, so that's why it looks like a shark fin antenna. Next, let's go interior. Now, I'm not gonna go super in depth with this just because my previous like 6 videos are on the interior, and so it's probably just gonna get a lot of repetitive content. But nonetheless, we'll start with some casual stuff. So basically, the entire upper half of the interior has been custom painted by me. So the A pillar, painted by me, as well as the B pillar and the C pillar. The headliner used to be tan, but now it is black. I used Duplicolor vinyl and fabric paint to get it to be black, and then added the star liner from Amazon. Now that's basically something you can do on any car. Newer cars, I'm not sure if you really need to. I imagine some newer Fusions have a black upper half, but my specific year Fusion did not have it, so that's why I did this myself. Now these roof handles, as well as this sun visor, this roof console, and that sun visor as well, and then the dome light in the rear somewhere over there. Those were all sourced from eBay. I did try to find some on carparts.com, but those were a little too difficult to find. But eBay had them, and they were all listed by pictures, and they're all from 2017 and newer MKZs. I believe the visors are from 2018's, the roof console from a 2019, and then the dome light, I'm not really sure. But nonetheless, they're all from newer model MKZs, and they all fit as a direct swap into the car. The roof console did need a little bit of massaging and kind of messing with, but only on 2 specific clips. The rest of it was fine. Everything works, all the lights, all the buttons, everything is basically just the same factory equipment, just newer and dressed up. So it looks better, and it looks factory, which I really like, and that's exactly what I was going for. It's pretty funny to me that you could have a 2013 Fusion and then get like a 2019 MKZ and swap parts on it. For me, it was a little bit of unfamiliar territory because they never actually say that they fit them, but I tested them out, and this is, you know, the example. They all fit, they all work, as you can see from these lights right here. And if you take the stock pieces out, these are a lot easier to get back in because they're newer and a lot of the material isn't as dry or brittle. I do still have a dash cam in here that's also from Amazon. Thinkware F200 Pro. Gave you guys a little bit of a review on that one as a whole on the dash cam install video, and I definitely recommend it because it is something that I do think most vehicles need, because you never know what's going to happen. And even on this car, you can't even tell it's there because this is about my eye line, so you don't really see it. You're just driving and it's out of sight, out of mind. Super easy. and basically all these pieces will fit, I'm sure, all new Fusions, so you really don't have to check too much with that. A lot of the things that I did in here are basically universal. It's more just a matter of doing them on your specific car, the upper half of the interior, as well as the custom painted trim. It's basically just removing it and getting it painted. You can definitely do it yourself. You guys have shown me a good bit of your custom pieces over on Instagram, and I think it looks really cool. Again, it's really easy to do. I would give it a solid 3 out of 10 on difficulty. It's more time consuming than anything, and you really don't have to worry about breaking too much because those pieces come off pretty easily. So I would definitely recommend it, and I would definitely say if you're looking to do something to your car, just something casual. I do have a video where I did it myself, but I just kind of wanted that little extra bit and that custom factor where it's color matched to the car. As you can see by all these little sparkles there, it looks really, really nice, and that's the same color as the exterior of the car. Got it done all the way around and could not be happier with the result. Especially goes really well with the steering wheel cover that I did. Now, the number one question I get regarding this cover is, what do you do if you can't stitch? If you can't stitch, you can still do it. It has a very, very in-depth guide on how to do it. And you're not actually stitching too much. You're not like digging into the cover itself. What you're doing is basically there's thread already on here, and you're just kind of pulling at that and just kind of linking them together, kind of like how you would do if you're tying shoes. That similar mindset. Granted, you're not doing the exact same thing, but it's pretty comparable to that at least. And this one, it has a really, really nice upgrade because it has a really nice feel, gives it a lot more thickness, which is something that I had a little bit of a concern on before I got the car. And then you can even see the 12 o'clock stripe outside the car for that nice little custom factor. I know she's dirty. I try my best to keep her clean, but I drive a lot, so give me a break. Now, these footwell lights are just the Govee footwell light kit. They're very, very easy to mess with. They do have a cigarette lighter input to power them if you don't want to hardwire them to the car. They are universal, so they are a very easy thing to do. But let me know if you guys want a tutorial on how to do them specifically for the Fusion. Can't really do a tutorial in this video, being that it's a review, but if that is something that enough of you guys want, I can definitely do that. It wouldn't be on this car, however. It would be on my sister's, but I could definitely use this car as an example. Now, I do have these purple custom seatbelts courtesy of Safety Restore, and the video is still pretty new, so I don't have too many like lingering or continuous questions on them. I will say that there's a lot of color options that they do have, and it is something that, again, you can do to any car because you use your factory seatbelts and they just replace the webbing and keep all the stock material. With a good amount of effort, it can be done pretty casually. But I would definitely recommend it if you're wanting that little extra touch to your interior, because you really only see custom seatbelts in higher end cars, so this is definitely a nice piece to have. One thing that I did want to do is emphasize the interior on this car because that's where I spend the majority of the time. I'm probably inside the car about 80% of the time and just around it about 20% of the time, and a good chunk of that's just when I'm filming. So now, getting the upper half of the interior black isn't the easiest thing to do. It is going to require a good bit of effort because you do have to mess with a lot of clips, and a lot of pieces are connected. I would give it a solid, I'd say 5 to 6 out of 10 on difficulty over the entire thing because it is something that you are going to need some amount of force to do. But nonetheless, in the disassembly video I have posted, or even in the seatbelt install video, you can see all the clips that are basically in their orientation. So that should help you out if you're looking to do it yourself. It's nonetheless a very, very rewarding thing to do because it makes the interior feel a lot more immersive. Then if you decide to go the extra step with a star liner, it's such an amazing experience to be in that car now. I actually had a few people in there, and as soon as I turned it on, they freaked out, and it's definitely something I would recommend if you want to go that in depth. Again, it's not for the faint of heart because it is just kind of like constantly just like poking holes and doing the little feeding of the wires through. Not difficult, just it takes forever, but it is something that is so rewarding on the car. Okay, now we can get to the more specific to my car stuff, which is gonna be the entire conversion from tan to black with the seats, door panels, and the floor panels. So I was able to source parts off of carparts.com. I found a yard in a little town about an hour out from my house. They had a 2014 Fusion Titanium that I was able to get all the pieces from, because that is one of the more common questions I get is, where do you get all these pieces from? And it was all from one car, believe it or not. The car had just gotten there and I basically gutted it. So again, I'm sorry if anybody was looking for, titanium pieces over there in Alvarado, Texas. But I took a really good one. You have the little stitching on the door panels, you have the different little pattern on the seats, you have the felt liner in the glove box. So it's definitely a big upgrade. There's nothing wrong with the tan interior, but me personally, I just like the black interior, and it is something that a lot of you guys tell me as well. But that's basically how I did it. That's how you're gonna find the best deals if you find one car that has a lot more pieces. And now for the Xbox that I installed in here, this one's gonna be a lot more specific to older model Fusions. I don't think you can do this in newer model Fusions because this is something that you do need the RCA ports for. My Fusion's a 2014. I believe it stops at 2016. Could be wrong. I don't know the exact years, but newer model Fusions can't really do it. because mine is older. It does have RCA ports that connect to the touchscreen, but that is the number one question that I get. How do you know if you can install an Xbox if you have the RCA ports here in the center console? Now, if you do have a Fusion with factory RCA ports and a touchscreen, I would say 100% go ahead and install it. It's something that really just transforms the interior as a whole because you can enjoy a lot more time in there. You can't do it while it's driving. That is a factory precaution. But if you are parked, you can do it really easily, and I've done it plenty of times where you just kind of sit down and play. It does suck that it's not for newer model Fusions, but it kind of brings a little bit more of like a little desirable factor to older ones, in my opinion. So I would say that if you can get it done, definitely do it. All right, I would say that's enough interior. Now let's get back to the exterior. So a good question that I get asked a lot is, where did I buy my wheels? And I bought these on Facebook Marketplace for $100. Was a really good deal, got them custom painted, and that was about it. They fit all Fusions pretty much. The brake setup behind them, they are brake motive brakes. They are drilled and slotted, which is what I really liked. They give it a little bit more of a performance-oriented look over stock. Now, I am looking to upgrade these wheels. We'll see what happens, but nonetheless, Facebook Marketplace, you can find them pretty easily because they are a pretty commonly replaced wheel. Not that they're bad wheels, but if you have a Focus ST, which is the car that these wheels come on, you usually want to go a little bit more of a custom route. It's a nice little setup that definitely has its practical perks. Next, we have the sequential turn signals. Now, these are a little bit iffy for me, simply because they don't fit perfectly, which is something that I did want to emphasize in the initial install video, but they do look really cool. It is something that I haven't really felt the need to remove because it functions just fine. You can't really tell that it doesn't fit properly. I am looking at seeing if there's still anything else out there. I've searched countless websites, and they're all basically the same too. And these are the only ones that seemingly work, but only being $20, they are a pretty solid upgrade from factory. They don't fit as well as factory, but they do look cooler than factory. So that's my 2 cents on that. Rounding it out, we are now approaching the front end. And if you notice, I no longer have the 3-piece splitter. I took it off, and all I gotta say is, stay tuned for the next video. Got a surprise coming in that one, and it's really, really exciting. But nonetheless, I'll still give you my 2 cents on it. So the splitter is a very easy way to kind of spruce up the front end of your car. It's very easy to install. The one that I have linked in the description box below is the one that I specifically used. It has, I think, newer years on it, but it does fit the 2013 through 2016 Ford Fusion pretty well. The number one question I get on that is the install, if you do have to like drill specific holes or whatever. It's basically like you were drilling a hole in wood. You make a pilot hole, and then from there you just drill the screw in, and that's basically it. It's very, very simple to do. I did try to emphasize how simple it was in the video, but I do want to reiterate that because I do get that question a good bit. And the next question I get is if you need to use double-sided tape. You do not. It's not supplied or anything. I had double-sided tape just kind of waiting out at home. So I figured I would use that just to kind of complement the adhesion and help it stick in position a little easier. It also helped with positioning it properly because I did get that really nice perfect fitment that I was really happy about. I think it's something that a lot of you guys are interested in because it is something that's very easy to install. It's very inexpensive. Do keep in mind that it is basically just plastic, so it can break. Nonetheless, it can still last you a good bit if you do take proper care of it and your car. Real quick, the hood decal and the roof wrap. The roof wrap is universal and you can get it done basically anywhere. Don't really get many questions on that. Number one question I do get for this hood decal is, where do you buy it? And that's really easy. It's eBay. I do want to note that everything that's on my car, I have never like gate kept or anything. It's always been linked in the description box or in the comments. Again, all the links for everything on my car is going to be in the description box down below. So you can get this specific piece if you want it. It comes in a bunch of different colors, and it definitely gives some angles to the front end that I do really like. I do plan on keeping this for a long time, unless something else comes up or unless I get a different hood. But for a stock hood, it's a pretty cool piece. Moving down, we have the Mustang style headlights. Now, these specific headlights are for the 2013 through 2016 Ford Fusion. They do not fit all Fusions. 2017 and up are subtly a different shape, but they do also make them for those years, linked in the description box down below in case you're looking at getting some of those. Now, the number one question I get is, how do you basically order a set of these regarding having the RGBs already a part of it? You can't really do that. They only come with these little single color halos in them that are used as the running lights. The halos I have are Morimoto RGB halos that I ordered from the retrofit source, and they were retrofit into the headlights to replace the DRLs. They are 80 millimeters, and that's for all four. Now, the halos themselves are going to be universal. You could put them on any car you want, as long as you can open up the headlight. But these specific halos, I did measure to make sure you wouldn't really need any extra equipment to secure them, and they work really, really well. The receiver is under the hood as well, so you can also just use your phone and change the colors if you want to. very easy to mess with, and probably one of the more rewarding things of the car because it makes the thumbnails that much better. So definitely enjoying having these on the car. Another thing I get asked about these headlights a lot is about the fitment, and the fitment's actually pretty solid. I'm very happy with it. And you can massage it a little bit into place if you need to, just kind of messing around with the screws and kind of like pulling or angling the headlights themselves. I didn't need to do too much of that, but I am a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to specific parts. And this is definitely a part that I wanted to be really specific on, and it came out really, really nice. So it's pretty comforting to know that it'll fit really well. Another question I commonly get asked for these headlights are, how do you wire the turn signals? And the thing is, you don't. They're actually just plug and play. They come sequential out of the box. The halos, however, was something that my friend Leo was able to figure out that the halos did, and they just kind of work all together in unison. It looks really cool, definitely really happy with it. And nonetheless, you don't have to do anything specific to get the sequential turn signal out of the box. But yeah, the general gist is that you can get this on any Fusion, just you have to get the specific year range headlight. But it looks really, really cool, and I would definitely recommend it because, again, a lot of the styling for the Fusion comes from the Mustang. Basically embracing that and making it look a lot more custom and a lot more aggressive is something that I was striving for. The install process was super easy, and you can definitely get it done in less than an hour if you know what you're doing. And if you don't, then like 2. Now I'm kind of gonna bundle the grille and the emblem together. So these 2 pieces were custom painted, the emblem by me and then the grille by the body shop that I go to. I do feel like I repeat myself a good bit when it comes to the grille, but nonetheless, you guys still ask the questions, so I want to make sure the information is out there and easily accessible. This grille is for the 2013 to 2016 Ford Fusion. You really can't get this specific grille for any newer models. The grille, the most common question I get for that is, where do you find the lower section? And that's the thing, you really don't. They really only make the upper half of the grille for this specific car. The lower grille is still the stock one. I don't know if you can really tell, but it does have a little bit of chrome accents around it. You can get a grille set that's the upper and lower. That's usually billet or the T-Rex grills. Those look pretty cool, but nonetheless, those are kind of something I haven't seen too many examples of. I will say, if you do want some custom grills, upper and lower, whether it be color match, carbon fiber, or anything else, check out jmaracing.com. Among grills, he makes a ton of other stuff, mirror caps, spoilers, even a new hood. Definitely a good place to check out if you want to really customize your Fusion. And you can get the upper and lower grill again there, which is a really good deal. And you can even get it color matched to the car. You just got to send in your information, and there you go. And then the emblem right here, the number 1 question I get is for the link. Again, this was just custom painted, kind of like the rear, so it'd be the same format to do this one. Now I will say, for the grille and for the emblem, you do have to remove the bumper. The bumper is pretty easy to remove. After you've gotten it once, you can kind of remember it pretty easily. But these do mount from the back because you can't actually reach the little mounting pins or whatever you want to call them on the back of the emblem super casually, unless you do damage it a little bit. But that about rounds it out for the car. There's a good bit on there, so if I missed anything, I do apologize. But hopefully I was able to help you out with any of these parts or give you a little bit more comfort in buying them yourself. Again, links are on the description box down below. Go ahead and check out my Instagram if you want to see even more of the Fusion. And just know, really cool surprise coming next week. So make sure to stay tuned, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
You look so puny next to him.